Welcome, everyone, to Inside the World of Real Estate. And today I have a treat for you. I have Devin Schaff, and he is in Mobile, Alabama, and he covers all of Alabama, it seems like, that whole area of the beautiful beaches and everything near there. And he also runs a property management company. So he's going to tell us all about it. So, welcome to our show. How are you today?
Doing well. Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it. Excited to be
Yes, we love it. We love it. So let's dig in. Let's talk about what is your background, where your family's from, schooling, growing up, where'd you grow up, and how long you've been in real estate. How about that?
Okay. Well, I've lived in Alabama all my life. I grew up in a little town called Alberta, Alabama, which is a very small kind of farming community, but it's along the Alabama Gulf Coast, about 20 minutes from Gulf Shores and Orange Beach. It was a very small area. Went to a Catholic school that had from kindergarten through eighth grade, had about 150 students or less.
Wow.
A very small school. And then I went on to Foley High School with a lot larger class, and then ended up going to Troy University and got a degree there with business marketing and management.
Fantastic.
Yep. And from there, I've always kind of been in the business world. I opened up back in the mid to late 90s, I opened up a small Sears franchise store in Foley that had hardware, appliances, and electronics. And then moved in after that venture. I moved into the car business for a while, sold cars and financed them. And then also after that, I purchased a flooring and decorating store. Ran that for about 7 or 8 years, and then transitioned again to selling software for hospitals and traveling all over the United States for small rural community access hospitals. And so I got to see a lot of the United States. And then about 3 years ago, I decided it was time for something different, to be home with my family more. The traveling was just getting a little overwhelming. So my spouse had already gotten into real estate several years before. And so I kind of already felt like I was in real estate, even though I didn't physically have my license. We were talking about it all the time. And he had gotten into property management, managing a condo that we had bought down at Dauphin Island on the beach. So it was kind of a natural transition when the company I was with was starting to shift territories, and I decided it was time to move into real estate.
Fantastic. That is great. What a great story there. So, and then how many properties do you manage too on your property management company?
So we're up to about 120 properties. We are in Mobile County, Baldwin County for the property management. We do short-term, long-term, Airbnb, those types. We also do some Section 8. So we find that a lot of clients throughout the United States, they may be priced out of their market. So Alabama, especially around the Mobile area, you can still buy a house for 100, 150,000, well under 200,000. That makes a great opportunity for rental. So we have a lot of people that are priced out of their market and buying in Alabama, and we turn around and manage it for them.
That's fantastic. So all of our investors out there, Alabama is the place to be, and you need to connect with Devin because he knows everything. And also, it's like a one shop. You know, I have some investment properties not in Alabama, so I'm going to have to think about that. But it's always great to have a management company where they take care of everything, and all you do is see the checks that come into your bank account every month, and they handle all the issues and problems. So God bless you with that.
That's money is always good money.
Love it. So tell us about what type of properties you sell, and kind of the area, and what people are buying right now in your area.
So, we have two different type of areas that we service, of course. We have the beaches. So we have Gulf Shores, Orange Beach, Fort Morgan, Dauphin Island. Those are our Gulf Coast beach areas. And that's in the Baldwin County side that we serve. We serve the 5 lower counties of Alabama. And then over on the Mobile side, it's more residential. So we have kind of a mixed use of we have some people that are buying to strictly do rentals, beach rentals, have something for their family to come to, and then rent it out the rest of the year. But we also have a lot of people that are moving here for retirement. The popularity of the beaches, there's been so many people coming here for the past 30 or 40 years, and they've brought their families. And now that they're at retirement age, they're like, this would be a great place to retire. The property taxes are cheaper, the insurance is cheaper, And so we find that those visitors are now becoming residents of Baldwin County and Mobile. And
Love
then,
it.
yeah, and then that also ends up bringing their families. Their families end up deciding to move because they want to be next to grandma and grandpa. And, so
Instead of the grandparents following the kids are following the grandparents. That's very interesting because here in Georgia, it's always the grandparents are following the kids because
Yep.
we're a big relocation for a lot of corporations will move to the area. So we do find that the kids move and then the grandparents move here because they want to be by the grandkids. But you got the complete opposite, which is nice. But who wants to, I mean, I would want to live on a beach too. I mean, why not, right?
Yeah,
You know?
absolutely.
That's
Absolutely.
great. That's fantastic. So let's kind of talk about prices in your area. So like, of course, by the beach, it's going to be a little bit more expensive than in other areas. So give us maybe 2 examples of, say, properties you have listed right now that are, 3-bedroom, 2-bath or 2-bedroom, 2-bath. What's the square footage? What are the taxes? And what's the price? How about that?
So we recently just sold a property here in Mobile. It was about 2,300 square feet. It was a 4-bedroom, 2.5-bath, in-ground pool,
Nice.
and it sold for 365.
Oh my God, that's a deal.
Yeah, move-in ready. They were excited to get it. They said in Denver this would have been about $1 million home, uh,
Right?
and taxes were about $1,500 to $2,000 a year. So that's not bad at
So
all.
taxes are like 0.5%.
Yes, they're
Wow.
very, very, very affordable, and you can homestead in Alabama. So you really, if it's your primary property, you get kind of a cut there as well. Our average price point in the Mobile side is about 250, and then when you get
Okay.
over to Baldwin County, more when you mix in the beach properties, that drives the average
Of
house price
course.
up. But it's about 360 in Baldwin County. Of course, the closer you get to the beach, the median, that price goes up, of course, but.
Right. So how about condos on the beach? Like condos on the beach, what are you, 2-bedroom, 2-bath? What do you got?
So, for those, those are going to range anywhere from about 450,
Okay.
on up, depending on the how new the condo complex is, what the amenities are. I mean, those could go clear up to 800,000, 900,000. We
Okay.
have some newer ones around the Orange Beach area that are 2 and 3 bedrooms that are well, right at the million price point and above. It just really depends on, the proximity to the beach. Some of them are right on the beach, some are across the beach, and
Sure.
how old they are, of course.
Right. And that's what's like, it's kind of affordable though. Like you think about it, it's pretty affordable that you could be really close to the beach and not have to spend that much money, right?
Absolutely,
You're not
absolutely.
talking of like Florida and other places where you're spending a fortune. And then, HOA fees, we know that that's always a big problem with everybody. Average HOA fees, are they in the 500s? Are they close to 1,000? Are they close to 200? What are they?
It really depends. I mean, we have
Mhm.
a unit down at Dauphin Island, and it's about a 2,400 square foot property. It's a 4-bedroom, 2.5-bath. Our HO fees are about 950 a
Okay.
month. But on the smaller units, they're in the $400 and $500 a month range. It depends. I will say that we are seeing a lot of people come from Florida that were originally purchasing in Florida. The insurance here has gotten a lot less. It's more affordable,
Yeah.
so that's not driving the HOA fees up as much as
Right.
some areas.
Well, that's good to know because I think that people, there's so much to think about because you just think, oh, I'm just going to buy a condo at the beach. But then you're like, I got to get insurance and I've got the HOA fees and I've got the taxes. Now, if you're an investor, do you have to pay higher taxes than if it was like your first home?
You do your tax bracket, I think, is a little different on those
Okay.
second homes, so that is something to consider. And obviously, the age of the condo will ultimately depend on how much your yearly HOA fees are, or if there's a special assessment if it is an older unit. Most of the condos down at the Gulf were built probably in the early '80s with a huge boom happening in the early to mid '90s, but they're still building them, right up to today on the beach. So
Nice. Fantastic. I mean, I just envision myself being there. It just sounds like the water. I mean, I know it's a little hot in the summer, but still, I just envision myself. So, what are the biggest draws? I mean, besides pricing and taxes and insurance that people are coming to your area besides those things that we already kind of discussed?
Well, there's a lot of industry in the area. There's a lot of industries that are coming to the area that are bringing people, and that's why a lot of times, if the parents are moving here, the kids and grandkids might follow. We have, a huge stainless steel industry. There are multiple companies throughout the Mobile County area. There's ThyssenKrupp, there's Outokumpu, there's Novus. There are several that are moving in. We also have Airbus that builds several of their planes right in Mobile. They build the A320 and several other one other plane in the area. But we've also got a lot of those manufacturers that are building parts like Collins Aeronautics, that aerospace that builds stuff that complements Airbus. So we have those types of industries. And then we have the Port of Mobile. There's billions and billions of dollars of products that come in the Port of Mobile every year. We have a large Amazon distribution center and a large Walmart distribution center close by, because it just makes for easy transporting those products that are coming off the boats there. In addition to that, we have quite a few universities in the area. We have the University of Mobile, University of South Alabama, Spring Hill College. So there's just a lot of things that are bringing people to the area as well.
There's a ton of things bringing people to the area. I think that people just they think of Mobile, Alabama, and what do they think of? Hot beach. They don't think of anything else. But you've got so many industries, and that was one of my other great questions. So you already answered it, which was great, is all the industries that are coming into your area that are bringing jobs and bringing people there. And then you've got the beachgoers, right? And then you've got the retirees who are finding out that it's less expensive than Florida. And you probably have a lot of investors that come in because of the affordability, because you can't, in certain areas, you can't find properties under 200,000. I mean, you got to go to more like 4 or 5, right? So it's nice that you have all that stuff as well. So when someone moves to your area, what's one of the biggest challenges that they might face?
Probably is deciding where they want to live in the county, where they want to live in the area. If you're in the Mobile area, you're about 40 to 45 minutes from the beach. Baldwin County is a large county. It's 110 miles from one end to the other. So deciding where you want to live in the county. Baldwin County is one of the fastest growing counties in Alabama, but also one of the 10 fastest growing in the United States. So, obviously trying to figure out in relation to the job or where you're going to be employed at, where to live. There are, of course, the further away you get from the beach is more affordable. And some of the industries are, of course, further away from the beach. So I think probably deciding, based on your hobbies and what you want to do, if you're into fishing and, those types of things, where you want to live in proximity to the beach is a concern for some people.
Which segue us right to the next thing is, what activities are popular in your area? What are hobbies and what are people doing? Fishing, I hear that first. So what else?
Oh, absolutely. Fishing is huge. We have Dauphin Island just finished up last weekend, the deep sea fishing rodeo, which is a national event they've had for about 80 years, where fisher anglers come all over throughout the United States to try to catch record-breaking fish. But also, we have the shrimping industry here is really big. But people that just want to come out and go deep sea fishing with their family and kids. But there's also plenty of other hobbies. We've got Mobile is home of the Azalea Trail Run, which is a once-a-year marathon people come out for in March and run through the streets in the city of Mobile. We have the Mobile Maritime Museum. We have the Mobile Mardi Gras Museum. A lot of people don't realize, but Mobile is actually the original home of Mardi Gras.
Yes, I do know that, but I love it, because like when people say that, they always like, New Orleans. I'm like, no, it's Mobile. So yeah.
We can prove it.
Yeah, so there you go. And I'm sure there's a lot of golf courses, and
absolutely,
tennis clubs and pickleball. I'm sure a lot of those things people are doing as well. Is that correct?
There is no shortage of outdoor activities to do. You're right. Pickleball has gotten huge. There's plenty of golf courses throughout the area. Pretty much anything outdoors. We find a lot of people, marathon runners, things like that. There's just a lot of things to do outside. We have a lot of our area is real big into outdoor kitchens, entertaining family, friends, outdoors, because just the weather lends itself to, all year round. We don't typically get snow. So, people do a lot of entertaining outdoors and things of that sort.
Yes, which said, okay, talk about the weather. Like you said, the weather is perfect, right? I mean, it's a little hot in the summer though, right?
It's a little hot,
Just a little hot in the
yeah.
summer, but really, but you still get like the blooming azaleas. I mean, in the springtime, so it's not totally hot all year round. I mean, you do get some, dips in the weather, but it's actually probably very comfortable weather.
Absolutely, yeah. So we get pretty mild winters. On average for us, if we have, if it dips into the 20s, it may dip into the 20s for a day or two throughout the winter. We typically don't have any, sub-zero temperatures. Now, we'll say this year was was record breaking. We got 12
in like what 100 years or something. What was
yeah, we broke the 100
got like
record.
Snow. We didn't even get snow in Atlanta, and you got snow, and I was just like, is this a joke? Like, yeah. I'm not kidding. Is this a joke? And you guys
snow on the beach.
That was crazy.
But typically, I've lived in Alabama all my life, and I only remember it snowing 5 times in my entire life, and I'm almost 50 years old. So
there you go.
Yeah, it'll never snow that much again in my life. So
there you go. That's really good. So where, like, okay, if someone's like flying or coming to Mobile, where's the airport in location? And, are you getting some flights coming in from different areas? Just curious.
Yeah, absolutely. So Mobile is actually in the process of building a brand new airport. It's going to be open in 2026. Our airport was way out in West Mobile, and it's moving downtown.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. That's amazing. That's great for you.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And we actually have the Coast Guard that will retain the airport that's out in West Mobile and use it for training. But as far as our area, there are direct flights to Washington, D.C., direct flights to Atlanta, North Carolina, several areas, Dallas, Houston, direct flights. And then we also have some close airports over in Gulf Shores for those beach travelers that are coming in. There's some direct flights from Kansas, Minnesota, several different areas. So there's a couple airports within, 45-minute radius that you can get to, depending on where you're coming into the area at.
That's really good. And that's really smart that they're building a new airport. I love that. That's just going to be booming. Alabama is going to just be booming with that. So that's really kind of cool. So we talked about the climate. We talked about a lot of things already. What about the food scene and, like restaurants and music and museums? You talked about a couple museums already, but what about that kind of culture?
So there's a lot of great places to eat. Of course, we're known for our good Southern cooking.
Yes.
Homemade macaroni and cheese. Fried chicken, cornbread. All the different, Southern fixins, black-eyed peas, things like that. But we obviously, being on the beach, you have, so much fresh seafood.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Oh, yeah. It's really, that's a lot of times what people come for. They come for the oysters. There's a lot of companies that will do the smoked and grilled oysters or raw oysters.
Right.
Homemade gumbo, crab bisque. There's just so many different things. And we get some of the Cajun food as well, like the shrimp and crawfish etouffee.
Yes.
So a lot, and just cooking the fish different ways, frying it, baking it, broiling it, blackened seasonings and stuff like that. So a lot of, we have a lot of different people that will have citrus trees in their backyard. So we see a lot of people that grow, oranges, grapefruit, limes, lemons, but also figs and blueberry trees. So, we get a lot of Southern fruit pies, like blueberry, blackberry pies, peach pies, things like that. So
you're making never a shortage of you. Because I'm a big seafood girl and I'm landlocked in, the Atlanta area. So for me, I just love anytime I go anywhere near the coast, I'm having seafood like the whole time I'm there. Like everything seafood. Forget about the Southern comfort food. No, seafood.
Yeah. There's no shortage of it. And we try to marry it together. We have like shrimp and grits, or they'll have like fried green tomatoes served over a crab cake with the crawfish remoulade sauce.
There you go. You got the combination of everything there too.
Yeah.
Okay. So What do you like to do outside of real estate?
I love to go traveling with my family.
Okay.
I like to get away and go, of course, go to the beach. My kids, I've got two older sons that we like to go deep sea fishing.
Oh, nice.
Most recently gotten into some outdoors events. There's a place called Boulders and Bogs where you can go out to the middle of nowhere and drive your four-wheeler and get stuck in the
I
woods.
could definitely see you doing that. Oh my gosh, that must be so much fun.
Get fun stress reliever, fun getaway.
That sounds amazing. That sounds great. All right, so let's talk about travel because obviously you've traveled a lot around the country, maybe around the world. What are some of your favorite places that you've been to, or something that's on your bucket list, or both?
I am looking forward next year. I'm going to London and Paris, so I'm looking forward to that. That's kind of been on my bucket list. I want to go to
Nice.
do some more international traveling, maybe Germany. That's always been, just to kind of go outside the U.S. Love Canada. I've enjoyed Canada. I've been over to the Niagara Falls side and the British Victoria,
So
Columbia
much
side.
prettier than the US side. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and I think that I love travel. I love Oregon, Washington, Seattle.
Yes.
I've traveled up the coast of Washington and Oregon, and love Hawaii. Alaska was really really nice. I love those areas as well. We've been to quite a few areas. I wouldn't want to be there when it's snowing, but in the spring and summer.
But
It's
guess
fun.
what? I was there in Alaska for the Northern Lights, and all I had to do was dress properly. So I called my friend who lives,
Uh,
her military. They got, they're in Anchorage, and
uh,
I said, "What do I need to buy? I'm coming for the Northern Lights." And she just gave me a whole list from Amazon, picked it all out, went to Alaska, went and saw the Northern Lights. Breathtaking. It was 25 below zero. You actually can be outside if you're dressed properly about an hour and a half
mm,
before your feet start going, two
yeah,
pairs of socks, boots, everything. But honestly, if you can dress, you can go.
you're gonna
So,
go. It's a beautiful area.
Alaska is one of my favorite places because every time you go, you see something different. You just don't see the same thing. So I
Absolutely.
really just am breathtaking. Sorry, I had to put that in. You have to
Oh
go
no, I love
in
Alaska.
the wintertime. You have to go in the wintertime at least once. And you can go. I went ice fishing. I don't even fish. I went ice fishing. It was fun.
It
Caught
is
some fish.
different.
It was great. It was just, it's about experiences,
Yeah,
right?
the
And what you're talking about is all the places you want to go, experience wise. Anything else you wanted to add to that list? Because you gave us a good list.
Yeah, I would like to, as I get up in age, maybe closer to retirement, do a cruise around the world. I have some friends, parents who just
Ah,
did a 260-day cruise around the world. That's kind of maybe a bucket list for down the road.
wow. Yeah. And that's interesting you say that. We cruise a lot. I just came back from a 12-day cruise in Ireland, and then we were on the land for a while too. But I told my husband, there's no way I'm doing a round the world cruise. I said, I like about 2-3 weeks. Once I'm like 3 weeks away from home, I got to be back. I got to go play my pickleball and my tennis and run and do the things that I like to. But
Right.
I can see there's a lot of people that have just enjoyed going around the world on a cruise. So that would be interesting. I just couldn't do it myself. Just one of the things I couldn't do, but that
I,
sounds
I I
fun.
think I would like it, but then I don't know. Maybe
I
there's
think you'll like it. I'm not talking you out of
a,
it. It's on your bucket list. I'm not talking you out of it. That's an amazing bucket list. I'm just like, personally, I don't know. Maybe if when I get older, I might think differently. But right now, I'm like, oh, I don't know. But that sounds amazing because then you get to see everything, right?
everything. Yeah, and you don't have to make up your bed every day. You don't have to decide what's for lunch or dinner. They do it for you.
See, really, that's the reason why. You don't have
Yeah.
to make your bed. You don't have to, like, you can throw your towels on the floor. You have food at 24/7 at your leisure. Yeah, that's like perfect. You're right. Maybe that's a good reason to do
Well,
that.
and I hear too that your family and friends can come in during the different segments when you're at different ports, and they can come in for like a segment of the trip. So if they want to come
Nice.
in when you're
Yeah.
in a certain area and stay for a week on the cruise, and then get off, and then so it's a good way to bring other people and go vacationing with them as well.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's an amazing bucket list there. Okay. So I have a question that you probably have a lot of answers to this one, but
Okay.
what is one of your most rewarding real estate transactions? And it could be recent or just something that really hit your heart.
Well, I think it was actually one that just happened very recently.
Okay.
We had a couple that was moving from Georgia, and they were actually a referral from a client from Georgia that we had helped that was moving here
Hmm.
for some industry, and they called us with the option. They were really just wanting a rent. They had never owned a home before. A new
Oh.
younger couple had a baby on the way. Literally,
Hmm.
the baby was about 45 days when I first met them, and they said, "I just don't think we can buy a home." And we got them in touch with a lender and looked at everything credit wise, and they're like, "You know what?" I said, "Why would you rent?" I said, "We can get you into a home," and they drove down here like almost over the night. One night, looked at houses. We got them under contract, and I was scared that we're either going to have the baby before the house closed. Yeah, baby came about 3 days after we closed on the house, and they are moving here to Alabama. They're on cloud nine. They just never dreamed that they would be able to own a home. There was just so many things that they thought they had to have, like $50,000 down and things like that. And we showed them that you can get into a home and be a home
Hmm.
ownership. So that was very exciting. Very,
Yeah,
very.
and I think, like what I think about you is you've had so much experience in business, right? Throughout your career. And you also have that such a kind heart and that you show and educate people what they can do. Because, the media tells people, oh, you can't do that, you can't do that, can't do that. Like, especially, Atlanta's pretty expensive. It's not cheap, right? But someone could actually go to your area and afford a property that they never thought they could ever buy a property. And I think that that's what we have to educate the world about, that there are areas, not Hawaii, not California, where you get this little $1 million house for, 600 square feet or whatever, but that you can actually get a really nice house for nothing. Like,
Right. Oh, it had a big backyard. It had the workshop, but it had a
and
screening
like
pool.
everything that they
Everything that they wanted.
out,
Yeah.
everything they dreamed about, you were able to make their dreams come true. And that just shows me what great agent you are and
Thank
how they need to contact you if you're anywhere in those 5 counties in that Mobile, Alabama area. Just reach out, even if you're not buying or you're thinking about buying for 5 years, whatever. Just reach out to Devin. He can hook you up and he can educate you on the market and help you guide you in which areas you need to be looking in. So I think that that's kind of really good. And then I have one more question for you. Is there anything that we did not discuss that you'd like our viewers to know?
I just, if they're on the fence about Alabama, they're thinking about moving to the area, we invite them to come in and experience the area, experience Mobile Mardi Gras and the Southern hospitality and everything that we have to offer. And like you said, even if you're not sure if this is the area you want to move to, we do property management. So rent a house for about a year or so, and then
There you go.
we'll work on those and change your mind to want to be a full-time resident here for a life.
Really, and just reach out to him because he manages Airbnb. So you'd be like, well, I have one. You can take that for a week. It's going to cost you this, and see if you really like it, or if you want to be there for a month. Whatever. I mean, so I think that you have the best of both worlds. That you actually can try it out before you buy.
Right. Right. Yeah, with no obligation to buy.
No obligation buy. Here you go. Try it out. There you go. Well, it has been such a pleasure to speak with you today. And I just really enjoyed speaking with you and telling the world about you and your business in Mobile, Alabama.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. It was a pleasure to talk with you and get to learn more about you as well. Thank you
Great.
very much.
You guys have a great day.
You
Bye-bye.
too. Thanks. Bye bye.